The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Is USAID directly giving cash straight to a news outlet?
No.
Or their intermediaries?
NGO, and then the fourth NGO down the line gives that to the news outlet. Because it's like I said, it's like an offshore bank account. You got to go from country to country to country to country, so it's almost untraceable.
Were they responsible for Ukraine?
Oh, hands down. You can see their handprints all over it. I mean, USAID was actually funding 9 out of 10 news agencies in Ukraine, and still to this day is true.
If it is true that USAID was funding Open Society Foundations, that would mean that USAID was indirectly funding political overhaul in the United States, which some would describe as a coup or a civil war or just outright simply corrupt. Let's do this. How many countries did USAID help overthrow? Let's see how it answers that one. The exact number of countries where the United States Agency for International Development has been implicated in overthrowing governments is highly debated and often treaded in controversy. Go to Grok, I typed in, did the Open Society Foundation receive USAID funding? And it goes, yes, according to various sources, it did. However, the specifics of such funding and the total amounts allocated for projects are, can vary. To summarize, yes, they do receive USAID funding. The details are murky, blah, blah, blah. So then I said, what's the estimate? There are reports suggesting that USAID provided approximately $260 million to organizations linked to George Soros' Open Society Foundations. The figure was highlighted in discussions like the funding of various projects, particularly in regions like Albania and Macedonia.
They've got their tentacles in every area around the world that hasn't banned them yet, because multiple countries have actually kicked out USAID because they didn't want them involving themselves in their politics at home. So I don't know if anyone has the full list of that, but it's growing. She said, all I know is one day I went to sleep, the next day I woke up and my country was unrecognizable. I didn't recognize it anymore. And everybody was flailing, and it all started when they showed up. And I was just like, wow,
So-
it gave me chills.
Well, so, whoa.
Please stop your government from trying to overthrow ours. Please. I beg of you. And unfortunately, I don't know exactly what happened because we were so overwhelmed. And like I said, there was no top cover. We had Tillerson, who was fired pretty early, and then Pompeo, who was useless. So, we were unable to really do anything. But
Whoa,
yes,
you saw this man say this?
oh yeah, and I can't remember his name, but he
Is this like classified stuff? It
No.
sounds like you get in trouble.
No, it's not classified. But because it's all public. I mean, it's all tax dollars, so you can see.
I had a similar experience yesterday. My driver that picked me up from the airport, his name was Abdullah, and we were in conversation about why I was here and how I was coming to talk about USAID. And he said, oh, I'm very familiar with USAID. He said, I'm from Afghanistan.
I wish I remember his name. And super tall, typical like Eastern European, and he was just so upset by what our government was doing to his country. A democratically elected government that we were coming in and funding the opposition and essentially overthrowing their government.
Go NGO to NGO to NGO to NGO. The NGO that's actually giving the money to the media outlet might not even realize that money is coming from USAID.
Right. Well, and the other thing is it's such a revolving door, right? So actually there was someone in my office, I don't remember exactly what her portfolio was, but one day we were sitting in our meeting and she's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to go work for Open Society Foundations.
That's like Iraq, Saddam Hussein, and Libya with Gaddafi. I'm not saying any of that's true. That's what's been alleged.
I think it's true because
yeah.
Yeah. We would have, and again, this was when I was at the State Department. But, just being in the foreign aid agencies. So we would have people coming to our office that would allege that. Especially, I remember one guy from Macedonia.
If it is true, regardless, we know for a fact that Open Society Foundation funds NGOs that operate in the United States. We know that Soros funded many prosecutors, district attorneys across the country.